So I wanted to just say to you, nobody paid for me to come here.
I got a message for all Stacey Abrams' liberal Hollywood friends. This ain't Hollywood. This is Georgia.
Yes, this is Georgia. The Georgia governor's race is so close. The big guns have been coming to town to stump for the candidates. But is that enough? Are these guys enough to really sway the voters? Welcome back to Public Affairs on Peach political analyst David Johnson, Rashad Ritchie joining us. What do you think? Can these big names, president also here, vice president here, is that going to be enough?
Right now, what it does, it energizes the base. It helps get some of these weak leaners out. At this point, though, it's not going to really change the undecideds.
You know, here's what I thought was really ironic. You had Pence basically saying, hey, this is not Hollywood, taking a shot at Oprah and Will Ferrell. However, we have a president of the United States who's kind of fresh out of Hollywood. He's right. This does energize the base. You're not really moving the needle on moderates or independents, but energizing the base in a midterm election is really, really the way to win races. And
in the break, we talked about the fact that our Secretary of State is running for governor. Is that a problem for people? Should he have resigned that spot?
If I was advising him, I would have. It would have taken away some of the Democratic attacks on him. If we're headed into a runoff, it would have helped him too because he could raise money. Remember, Governor Deal has called a special session. That would be right in the middle of the runoff period, and legally, as an elected official, he cannot raise money during that week.
So won't be able to do any new ads or anything, or you have to use what you already have in the bank?
Well, I mean, Republicans can go in, and we know that this is going to be ground zero. It'll make Florida in 2000 with the recount look like nothing. And we know the president will be down here at the National Governors Association, but it kind of hurts Kemp himself.
Yeah, and this looks like Kemp is the umpire of a game he's competing in. And that has worked well for the Democratic challenger in this gubernatorial race. It has become a complete distraction to his message and to his platform.
It has. I mean, he's appeared tone deaf a lot of times as far as with the optics of things. He might have, like I said, the law on his side, but the optics that the average voter sees, they don't like it.
A lot of questions there. All right, let's move on to the lieutenant governor's race. We've got Republican Jeff Duncan, who's a former member of the House, and trucking company owner Sarah Riggs Amico. What do you see going on there? She, of course, if elected, could be the first woman in Georgia to be lieutenant governor.
I don't see her getting over the finish line as much as I do possibly Stacey Abrams. Duncan's run a smart campaign. He's been on TV, positive. I see that he'll probably finish first. Some of the polling shows that he's ahead. So right now, I think Republicans feel very comfortable about that race.
The voters know him.
Yeah, and both of these candidates have run a pretty positive campaign, articulating their direct message rather than throwing mud at each other. I will say this. I've seen Sarah Riggs Amico speak live. I've seen her at rallies, and she has a remarkable way of connecting with people. If she increases that throughout this state, she could really give him a run for the money. And the polling data suggests that they also are statistically tied.
Wow.
It's close, but I mean, she's also stumbled when she talked about removing Brian Kemp if he was elected governor as well. I think overall, Duncan is in the position I'd want to be in.
All right, let's move on. Insurance commissioner, that's a pretty tight race as well right now, with a little contentious at this point.
It is, which is surprising because, I mean, we've seen Jim Beck dominate the airwaves. A lot of it is residue still from that Republican primary that was very contentious, and the allegations against him as well. I think this might be a race where Democrats actually are sorry that they didn't invest more money in.
Yeah, I think, and I said this on the show before, this should be a targeted race because the Republican nominee who emerged out of this is battered and bruised at such a degree that I think there's an opportunity for a Democratic victory.
All right, so more money should have been spent.
Exactly. I think they're going to look at it as a missed opportunity. I think Beck, though, right now will probably pull it out.
And you think timing is everything when it comes to these two?
It definitely is timing.
All right.
Yeah, and we'll see how strong the Democratic nominee for governor is because she can actually pull votes.
Exactly. It'll depend if there is a coattail effect.
Yeah.
I heard on the radio today, former Atlanta Mayor Shirley Franklin out trying to push the all-women on the ticket. What do you think about former mayors being a part of this?
It'll help energize the base right now at this point. What's interesting, though, is Keisha Lance Bottoms is trying to stay away from it because she doesn't want to antagonize anyone.
Right, because she's going to have to work with whoever is the next
Sure.
governor.
And here's the real translation of movements like that. Money. Money. Mayor Shirley Franklin still has a remarkable ability to raise money and coordinate endorsements. So even though you see this public persona of her trying to rally women to participate, remember that behind the scenes, she's putting dollars in the bank.
And it's all about money at this point.
It is all about money. We're going to take another break because there's another big race everybody's talking about. That's the 6th Congressional District race. One of the most expensive losses for Democrats when Karen Handel beat Jon Ossoff last year. Can they win with Lucy McBath? We're going to talk about this one right after the break.